So good morning, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the process of transcription. We have talked about the mechanism of transcription in the previous class, and today we will continue and try to understand the complexity that we had talked about in the last class regarding the eukaryotic transcription process. So let me share the screen with you all, and then we'll continue that. Okay, so let me do that just a second. Yeah. And let me change the color to yellow. That looks good. Yeah. So as you know, the transcription occurs with the help of the transcription unit, right? We have the promoter, then you have the structure gene, and we have the terminator sequence. And we also talked about the entire process where we. Okay, am I back? Okay, now can you hear?
Sir, yes.
Yes, sir.
There was some disconnection. Okay. So what I was saying is, so we have some sort of problem. So, but again, I'll repeat that again. So I was saying is, transcription unit is consisting of the components as you already know about, the 3 components, and the process of transcription, whether you talk about eukaryotes or prokaryotes, it is consisting of the initiation phase, then the elongation phase, and then the termination phase, right? These are the 3 phases. And initiation phase, we are going to have the association of the RNA polymerase or the RNA pol along with the initiation factor. What is the initiation factor? Can anybody tell me what are the initiation factor?
Sir,
Alpha.
RNA binds to promote.
Okay, RNA, yes.
Sigma factors.
Sigma factor, sir.
Sir,
Yes, yes. Sigma factor or initiation factor. So again, yes, sir, yes, sir. Promoter, then you have the structural gene, and finally we have the terminator. Right, in the unique classes, we'll talk about the detail of the promoter sequences, the regulatory units. So for example, you have the, as I had said, Tata box. And these sequences, recognition sequences, allows the binding, right, of what? The RNA polymerase. So what I'm saying is the RNA polymerase to start with binds to the sigma factor, which is nothing but the initiation factor, right? And from there it continues the process of elongation where we get the MR that is the precursor mRNA, right, that needs to be processed. And finally we have the termination sequence where the RNA polymerase again transiently bind with the Rho factor, or that is the termination factor. This is what we have already learned about. Now, as I said, that in case of, this is all both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. But again, when we talk about prokaryotes, there are additional complexities, as in case of prokaryotes, there are processes very simple. When we are talking about eukaryotes, there are minimum of 3 different type of polymerase RNA polymerase. So you have RNA pol 1, RNA pol 2, and RNA pol 3. Now, can anyone tell me what is the role of RNA polymerase 1? What does it synthesizes?
Transcripts rRNA.
Right, rRNA or ribosomal RNA. So that is your 28S rRNA, 18S rRNA, and 5.8S rRNA. Now, what about RNA pol 2?
Transcribes hnRNA.
Right, we are going to have the hnRNA or the precursor mRNA, heterogeneous nuclear RNA. And what about pol 3? Pol 3 we are going to have 5S.
tRNA, snRNA, and srRNA.
Okay, 5S rRNA, 5S rRNA, and then you have the 5S RNA, and then you have snRNA, and you are going to have the tRNA. So these 3 different what do you call, the polymerases are there which are having different roles. And another thing that we talked about was the presence of intron and exon. Now can you tell me which is the coding and which is the non-coding sequence?
Exon is coding, sir. Intron is non-coding.
Very good. So coding sequence, and intron you have non-coding sequence. So to start with, what happens is, if I just draw the let me draw it quickly. So if I'm going to have a precursor mRNA, right? So there are few changes that are going to occur. So again, quickly, I'm going to get the color. So let's imagine from here to here, we are going to have, okay, one structure, and let's say another one we are going to have here. And what I'm doing is I'm just highlighting the exons. Okay, so here we are going to have the exon 1, we're going to have the exon 2, and we're going to have the exon 3. So three different types of exons are there. Now on the other hand, this area in between, right, this space in between, these are of the what? Intron. Okay, intron 1, and this area is going to be our, let's say, the intron 2, right? And on the other hand, these two is going to be the regulatory units. So this is our promoter region. It was our promoter region, right? And on this side, it was the terminator sequences. Now what is going to happen is the processing starts, right? So when we talk about mRNA processing, three things happens, right? Step 1 is going to be called splicing. Okay, then there is going to be capping and tailing, right? So what I'm trying to mean by that is, in this case, first thing, all the exons that are there, I'm going to go back, sorry, all the exons that are there, they're actually, sorry, pen, yeah. So all the exons that are there, they're going to be joined. So again, let me draw it. And here, these exon 1, 2, and 3, they're going to come here. So we are going to get one second exon and the third exons together. So the exons are joined. Okay. So exon 1, exon 2, and exon 3. And what we have done, we have discarded the introns. We have discarded both the introns. Again, we're still going to have the 5' and the 3' end. And once you have this, what you're going to do is, we are going to add something called 5' methyl guanosine triphosphate. It's a long name, right? 5' methyl guanosine triphosphate, that is going to be added to the 5' terminal, and a number of adenylate, right? Polyadenylate residue, that is around approximately 200 base, that are going to be added to this 3' end. So when we say polyadenylate residue, a continuous a long chain of A, how many? Around 200 bases. So when we are talking about splicing, we are talking about the removal of the introns and joining of the exons together, coding sequences together, and capping is the addition of a methyl guanosine triphosphate on the 5' terminal, and tailing refers to addition of 200 bases of adenylate residues. So if you can see here, what we are going to have is the process of eukaryotic transcription, and what you see here is the primary transcript. Now this primary transcript is having this intron, these are introns, and the yellow ones here are the exons. And what you see here is the addition of a cap, that is the first step, methyl guanosine triphosphate, 5' cap it is called. And on the 3' end, there is a polyadenylation that we are talking about, tailing. And these introns which are there, right, they are actually removed. They are all removed. And what we get is an matured mRNA with only the exon sequences, Now, when we talk about splicing, right, here we don't have any enzyme. We don't have any enzyme made up of protein, but instead there's a major enzyme is actually the ribozyme. Okay, and this actually takes care of the process of the RNA splicing, and it forms a complex called spliceosome. Okay, its complex is called spliceosome complex, and with the help of this spliceosome complex, the ribozyme RNA based enzyme is going to take care of the process of RNA splicing. Okay, are you able to understand till now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now what we have said, that we have a sequence of RNA, we have a sequence of DNA. So that's all right. From DNA, right, which you had the ATCG, and RNA that had a complementary sequence TUGC, let's say, there is something similar. There was something common in between. Complementary sequence is common. So we could form the RNA based on a template DNA. It is very easy, straightforward. Just follow the rule of complementary and remove the A in with G. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is AU. And UACG. Yeah, UAGC. Sorry, UAGC. So remove the T with you, and you are done with that. But when we talk about protein, right? Instead of all of this here what we are talking about, nucleotide. So here what we are having instead is the amino acids. So the obvious question is, what kind of correlation we are going to have between nucleotide and an amino acids? So how information is going to get passed on from the nucleotide to the amino acids? And to answer this, we had few scientists who came up with certain idea. So one of the main scientists was a physicist, actually, George Gamow. Now what he said is, he proposed about something called codon, and he said that each codon, suppose you have an amino sequence, let's say 5 prime, A U G C C G U A U C C G 3 prime. Let's imagine that. So what he said, that instead of all the other number of one nucleotide depending one amino acid or anything of that sort, he said that it is actually the 3 amino acids, sorry, 3 different nucleotides of the mRNA, they will represent one codon, right? So here we are going to have the codon 1, then we are going to have the codon 2, and we are going to have the codon 3. So they said that we are going to have codons 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And each codon, right? So one codon, it is going to resemble one amino acid. Understood till now? Are you able to understand? Hello?
No, sir, please repeat this codon part.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, there was correlation between DNA and RNA sequence, right? You have nucleotides, so complementarity, all right, we can get the thing done. But when we are talking about a protein sequence for translation, what happens is we need amino acid in case of protein. So how information is going to be passed on from nucleotides to the amino acids? Because see, we have more than 500 amino acids. Of that, only 20 amino acids are there which are going to code for protein, right? 20 amino acids make up the protein. Now, of this 20 amino acids, how these 4 different codons, we have what? A, U, C, G. Now, how these 4 different codon code for 20 amino acids? That was the question. So George Gamow came up with a proposal that it is not the individual nucleotide is important. He said that it is actually the codon. And what do you mean by codon? Codon is a sequence of 3 amino acids, 3 nucleotides, right? In the amino sequence, it is a sequence of 3 nucleotides that will represent, or that will code, that will have information for one amino acid. So codon is basically a sequence of 3-letter nucleotide of the mRNA that will code for one amino acid, that will have information to code or synthesize one amino acid. And when we see the mRNA, we are going to have a set of codons, codon 1, codon 2, codon 3, and the process goes on, right? So that is the codon concept, which is going to code for one amino acid. Now are you clear? Or still confused?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Okay. So now question is, how many codons do we have? So because we are going to have, as per him, there are 3-letter, right, per codon. So a total, how many nucleotides are there? 4. So 4 into 4 into 4. In other words, we can have these many combinations because 3 letter. So 4 into 4 into 4, that is going to be 64 codons. Right. In other words, what you can say is 4 different amino acids can have 3 different, three different letters. So together the combination is going to be 4 to the power 3, that is going to be 64 codons. Now this was proposed by George Gamow. He said about the triplet, right? It is called triplet codon. But the experimental chemically it was proved by, there was an Indian scientist called Har Govind Khurana. Like he was an Indian scientist, and there was another person by the name Marshall Nirenberg.
In the slide, it has been written 61 codons, sir.
Just have a minute. Let me explain. Just have a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, I'll explain. Don't worry. Just coming to that. So as I'm saying, there were 2 scientists who were involved in chemically proving the fact of the triplet codon as given by George Gamow. Are you clear till now? Then we'll go forward. Are you clear till now? All are clear? Shall I move forward? Okay, I'm going to move forward. Yeah. So what is the point? So they proposed at the end of all the experiment, they proposed a this chart for the genetic code chart. Now here sorry, the point here they said is, of this entire 64 possible triplet codons, it is only 61 that is coding for amino acids, and 3 of them they do not go for anything, right? And they are called a stop codon. So if you see here, we are going to have the first letter of the codon here, U, C, A, G. There is no T because of course we are talking about RNA sequence here. And the second letter of the codon goes from here, let's say U, C, A, G. And the third letter goes from here, U, C, A, G, U, C, A, G, U, C, A, G, and the next goes on. So if I'm going to talk about a single codon, let's say, if you're talking about U from here, U from here, and the U from here. So I got U as a codon, and it codes for PHE or phenylalanine. Now when you're going to have U and the third codon is C, in that case also it codes for PHE or phenylalanine. Now then there is something called, let's say we take this example of AUG. A is the first codon, U is the second codon, and third one G here, that is the third codon, AUG. It codes for another amino acid called the methionine. Okay. Now similarly, what happens is when we are going to have UAA, UAG, and UGA, they do not code for anything, right? And that's why they are called the stop codon. So out of the 64 possible triplet codons that we are going to have, it is 61 that codes for an amino acids, and the last 3 are this UAA, UAG, and UGA. They code for nothing, and that's why they call the stop codon. So the triplet is the codon is triplet, 61 code for amino acid and 3 do not code for anything. That's why they call the stop codon. That's the first feature of the genetic code. Now what about the second one? Now some of the amino acids, as you saw here, they're coded by more than one codon. So amino acid, let me take an example of the second one here, serine. SER stands for serine. So when we talk about serine, it is coded by UCU, UCC, UCA, and UCG. So all the 4 codons code for serine. Now similarly, if you talk about proline, PRO, it is CCU, CCC, CCA, and CCG. All of these 4 codon code for the proline. So what happens is, in certain case, one amino acid, for example serine or proline, can be coded by more than one codon. More than one codon. 4 देख लो, example देख लो, यहाँ पे proline के लिए 4 example है. So in this case they are called degeneracy, right? It is called degeneracy of the genetic code, or we can call the code is degenerate. Now the third case. Now when we talk about the amino acid, as you saw here, we read in a continuous fashion, right? First 3 letter is one codon, next 3 letter is next codon, next 3 letter is next codon. So there is no punctuation, no full stop, no comma, and the entire codon is read starting from the the intron, the first exon. The entire sequence is read in a continuous fashion without any gap. So that is called reading the mRNA sequence in a continuous fashion. There is no punctuation here. Now the code is nearly universal, right? What do you mean by this? Here, if the UUU, if you see here, the first one is coding for the amino acid phenylalanine, that is typically that it is going to code for the same amino acid. UUU will code for the same amino acid even in other animals, other living organism. It is going to be the same. UUU in human and in other organism, it will code for phenylalanine or the PHE. Now there are certain exception in case of mitochondria and in case of certain protozoan, but again it is very rare and minute. But mostly it is the PHE. Sorry, it is actually universal. That is, whatever codon we are going to have coding for an amino acid in case of human, that is the same in other organisms also. Now another thing very important is this one, AUG. Now this particular codon is very important because always the first codon has to be AUG, right? And this AUG is going to have two roles, right? And that is going to be called, it is going to code for methionine. Okay, actually it is formilated methionine, or it is called FMET. And it is also going to act as the initiator codon. Now remember, the process of translation will begin only from the place where you are going to have the codon as AUG. So in the entire sequence of the, we'll just talk about that in the next class. In the entire sequence of the mRNA, the final mRNA, the entire sequence is not going to be coded, not going to be translated. In that coding sequence, wherever you're going to have the AUG, from there only will start, not before. And the previous one is going to be UTR, or untranslated region. We'll talk about that in the next class. So AUG, wherever you're going to have the beginning of the process of translation. So in other words, what we can conclude, any protein, any polypeptide that is going to be translated here is going to start with the first amino acid as methionine. So methionine is the first amino acid for any protein or a polypeptide that we are talking about. That is why AUG is going to have the dual role. And last one, of course, which we already talked about, UAA, UGE, and UAA, UGA, and UAG are going to be the stop codon or the termination codon. They code for nothing. So these are, dear students, the sequences, the genetic code and the unique features about the genetic code that you all must know about. So do you have any doubts on what I said now? You can ask. Dear students,
So do we need to remember all these codons, sir?
Mansi, you don't have to remember the codons. See, if you are going to be asked a question regarding this codon where you need this chart, then typically what happens is the chart is given. Okay, chart is given. But something like the stop codon and the start codon that you must remember, along with at least the first one, PHE wala, you have to remember this. Remaining things, typically, at least in the board examination, you will be given with the genetic code if you are asked about, let's say, transcribing something or translating something from a mRNA, then you are going to be given. What kind of question you can expect is, you are going to be given with a question of a sequence, mRNA sequence will be given, and you will be asked to create the polypeptide sequence. In that case, you will be given with this, so that you are going to, easily you can answer that. So you don't have to remember all of this, no. But what you have to remember is this particular features that I talked about, 6 different features. Every time from this chapter, there is typically a question on all of these or one of these. Degeneracy kya hota hai, universal kya hota hai, then what is the dual function, something other they keep on asking. Okay, that you have to remember. Yes, anything else? Okay, one more
So
thing.
please provide the recording after the class, because your voice was breaking regularly.
Definitely,
sir.
definitely. I'm going to.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I am going to upload this thing. Don't worry. It'll take some time, but I'll upload and send it. Don't worry. So one thing that again I forgot to tell you is, not forgot. It is part of this. It is called specific nature. Specific nature means one amino acid or one codon codes for only one amino acid. One codon codes for one amino acid. That is the specific nature or specificity of the genetic codon. One codon codes for one amino acid only. So one codon at no point of time will code for two separate amino acids. That is the point. So with that, I think we're going to stop for today, and I will make it available. I will keep it. I'll just upload in the channel, so you can check it out at a later point of time. Are you clear, or do you have any doubts here, students?
Clear, sir.
Clear? Okay. So if you do any, if you do find yourself in any sort of trouble
Yes,
with
sir.
the concepts, you can reach out to me. Okay, I will clear the doubts in the next class also. So thank you all for joining today. Have a great day, dear students.